We've got with us Randy Palmer tonight.
Yes, we do.
One of the Randys coming up.
The upcoming
The
Randy.
Randys. The Randys
quad.
show coming up, yes. With Randy Brooks and Randy Brown and this gentleman.
And you.
And me. And we just did 10 of his great songs. This was
Yes, we
such
did.
fun. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
We're so glad to have you a part of our musical family. You and I have been chatting for a while.
Yeah.
And we've ridden over a couple of bumps getting you here, but we got you here.
You were extremely kind to me when I had some bumps on the road. And
Well, hey, we all have bumps on the road in
we've
our
been,
life.
We've probably been on the same roads.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I want you to let everybody know, Randy, who don't know you, I know that you live in Amarillo now, but tell everybody where you were born and raised and kind of about your background as far. Bring us up to, when you got out of high school and started.
Well, I was born and raised in Amarillo.
Amarillo.
So I am a High Plains product.
Okay.
There and went to. It was interesting. My high school burned down right before I entered high school.
Oh, no.
And so we went in what was left. They just made do with what they had while they built a new school. And so it was a unique experience because we had plywood partitions up so high and you
can't snap your fingers and rebuild a school.
No. So my whole high school career was in a burned out building.
So everybody smelled a little smoky after school.
Yeah. On the third floor, there was the one wing still had 3 floors standing, and there was a door that you opened up and it just went into what used to be the auditorium, which was just a big. And before they boarded it all up, they had somebody put up their freshman entrance.
Wow, that's kind of dangerous, really. When you think about it, that was really dangerous.
It really was making do.
Yeah.
So what else could you do?
Yeah.
You didn't have mobile homes being able to be rolled into everywhere in an instant like they do a lot of places. Yeah. So you just hung around Amarillo for how long?
Well, I went to Baylor University, and I went my to be wife. You got to understand, I make a decision like every decade. I mean, that's kind of how my MO is. My wife and I, we started dating when we were sophomores in high school, and we dated for 10 years, off and on. I mean, on this, and we were engaged once along the way and called it off, and then got married 10 years later. And so she went to Baylor her freshman year, and so I went my sophomore year just to protect my turf.
All right, yeah. There you go.
And I had a wonderful experience. Had some great friends and great
Baylor
roommates.
on the Brazos.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's kind of funny. He's a 10-year, you're an 11. Randy doesn't make a decision. It's 11
takes
every
11
years. Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yes,
we're
past the
that's
11-year
about right.
mark.
We're
why rush?
Yeah, we'll be married 39 years this summer.
Wow,
and
congratulations.
So we're almost due a decision. So
Yeah. I'm betting that you'll stay together for another 10
I
at
think
least.
I feel pretty good about it.
At least stay friends.
Yeah.
So you went to Baylor. Where'd you start playing music?
I started when actually I remember being like about probably 3rd or 4th grade. My mom set me down in front of her stereo and handed me my brother's guitar and said, "Play along with this." And she played Johnny Rivers.
Oh,
and,
which album?
Maybelline.
Whiskey a Go Go.
Yeah.
I have it.
And so that's what I remember is kind of my first gig was in front of my mom's stereo, trying to figure out some chords. My brother would take lessons, and he would come home and teach me what he learned. And so that's how I learned to play guitar.
You got a 2-for-1 deal on that.
Yeah.
Mom did anyway, yeah.
And Johnny Rivers had a great ability both in the way he presented the songs, just to simplify them, make them easy, kind of like Creedence did. Their songs weren't that complicated. They were just great songs, Oh,
and she loved that album. She played it loud. She played it loud.
I could probably tell you every song on that album. I loved that album, too. Another one from about that 65 period, about that same era that you were talking about earlier. Well, you started playing music right then, but when did you start really playing music?
Well, I started writing songs during high school, and I remember this guy, his name was Tim Jenkins. He was a guitar player, and he would lead in youth group things and stuff like that, and he would be playing his guitar and singing. And one time he handed me his guitar and said, "Now you do a song." And it was the first time I'd ever played in front of anybody, And
but you were scared to death.
I was. And he said, "Play that song that you wrote." And so I did.
Wonderful.
And I wish I knew that song now. I mean, I'm sure it was really bad. I'm sure it was, because I wrote a lot of bad songs. I still write a lot of bad songs.
All of us do.
You've got to get to the good ones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a path that every song you write is going to be a great song. That's foolish.
You hope it is, but
well, we're realists, so
yeah.
gotta be realists. So you started writing in high school, and did you play in a band or solo thing all the way?
Yeah, I played in a band. Our first gig was the Future Farmers of America banquet.
Yeah,
and so we called ourselves Redneck. I mean, so
perfect.
And then we all found somebody in high school who could make us an ID, and then we went out and started playing the bars around Amarillo,
and became Redneck.
Yeah. And but what we that was back, and that was when Michael Murphy was just coming on, and Jerry Jeff was just made an appearance in our lives and stuff, and so we played mostly that music, from that time, and we had to each say, "I'm spending the night with Mike, and he's spending the night with Dennis, and I'm spending the night with."
You did that too,
yeah.
huh?
So we could go play these things,
Yeah.
and then one night I remember playing at a place called Guffey's Tavern, and in walked all of our parents, and they sat down on the front tables there.
No!
And that
you
cold,
probably weren't fooling them at all.
Oh, that cold chill that goes through you when you're caught red-handed doing something you're not supposed to do. It was amazing. I mean, and of course, then you're trying to kick all the beer bottles, away. Get them away from me! Get them away! I remember our parents, where did you get that sound equipment? Well, the guy at the music place sold it to us. And, we had been hiding this stuff for 3 or 4 months before we got caught red-handed.
Where did y'all practice? Did you have a good safe haven practice place?
What?
Because we did in our band, so I remember.
But we practiced at Dennis's garage. I mean, one the lead guitar player, his parents were not very vigilant, so it always took place at Dennis's house.
And this is all in Amarillo.
Yeah.
And then, at what point in time did you really start playing professionally? Where you personally?
And I attempted to play some in college and stuff, and then I was involved in a youth ministry called Young Life, and Young Life gave me a lot of opportunities to play, both at their camps around the country, and then they would have events around the country, and they would move me around, and I'd play a lot of those events, and that was a big part of kind of fine tuning and practicing in front of crowds and stuff. Mm-hmm. So
now you made it to Nashville eventually.
Yes, yeah.
And
when I graduated from college, I went for like 2 or 3 months and lived in Fort Worth, with a friend of mine, and then took off for Nashville from there, and I was there for 4 years, and I loved every minute of it. I got a staff job working for a company called Acoustic Music, and so I was writing lots of bad songs, but I got lots of encouragement and honing of the craft from Lamar Morris was the professional manager, and he was just a great coach.
Were you also playing at the same time in the Nashville area?
Yeah, mostly open mics, and you couldn't find a paying gig in Nashville. I mean, there's too many. Yeah, it's kind of like Austin is.
Yeah,
today.
just like Austin.
Yeah, and but I played lots and lots of open mics, and that was during the time the Young Life they'd fly me around the country to play these banquets and these events that they would hold, and so that was really good.
So, did your music and writing become your career, or did you work other?
No, when we just my wife and I decided we were going to get married, one of the trade-offs was that I would get a job.
All right.
Damn.
So I all told, I spent like 16 years working with high school kids, and the rest of the time working as a painting contractor.
Okay.
And so my dad was a painting contractor. I grew up in that business, and so
you knew it. You knew that industry.
Yeah, I knew that industry and stuff, and so I worked for his company, and I worked on my own for that, and then.
So now you're like close to retirement.
Yeah, getting close.
And
like
so
that song 65 is getting real close, and so this time next year I'll be on Medicare. This time.
Yeah, but you know what?
It
You
ain't
can
too
do your
bad.
music.
It helps.
You
believe
can
me.
do that music full time then.
Well, and when our last child was safely away from our home, my wife said, "Now you can go play."
There you go.
And so she's been a great encouragement.
Yeah.
That was kind of one of the next questions. When did you start really getting out there?
Yeah,
But
I submitted to the New Folk contest at Kerrville in 2011. Got in on the finalists on that, and that was kind of a jumping off platform.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a lot more serious about playing after that.
you and I have a lot of mutual friends.
Yes.
A bunch. Oh my gosh, we talked about that on the phone. But Yvonne too. We talked about her earlier in the first set.
She is such a talent. And,
great lady and great talent.
and I don't know her really well. We're in the same town, and we compete for the same gigs.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. But she is such a talent. We've done a couple of shows together. And,
It's an honor to compete for gigs with somebody like her.
oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Because you know that if you didn't get it, somebody good's got it.
Yeah.
Now going back to Kerrville, you and I had a discussion earlier, and I wanted you to share it because it's really cute. You were a finalist, and there was how many people?
Yeah, they can take up to 800 entries for the New Folk contest, and they whittle it down to 32, and they invite those 32 to come to the festival and to perform their submittals, their two songs, and then and of that they pick 6 that are become the New Folk for that year. But I'm a club 7. I've been 7 twice.
And who is somebody that you know that's also in your club?
Well, there's this young man named Aaron Smith that I think is just really, really good. He's from Arkansas, and he is exceptionally good.
And Mr. Stevenson?
Yeah, BW was a New Folk finalist, but not a winner, I don't think, on that. But like
That was
Nancy
early.
Griffith and Lyle Lovett and they've all done New Folk,
Yeah,
And so it's a classy thing, and it's a real honor to be a part of that.
We've been lucky enough to have a lot of their winners. And it seems
Yeah.
like we get people in
Rachel-
here right before
yeah.
they win.
Rachel Lavin.
We were in the same class in 2016.
And Helene
Oh, okay.
Cronin.
Yeah.
Helene Cronin last year. We had Frank Martin Gilligan came and
Yeah.
did a show with us right before he won. And
Frank and I have done a few shows together and stuff, and
Great
I get a lot
artist.
of musicians that come spend the night at my house because we're on
You
the way to
too,
everywhere.
huh?
Yeah.
So you want to trade bedrooms sometime when you're coming?
Yeah.
Okay, there we
Yeah.
go.
And
We can
Frank's
do
been a guest of ours, and we had a great time having him in Amarillo.
Yes, we call our place the Treadway Hilton.
that. Yes, bar and grill.
Yeah, we had Bob Livingston last week.
Oh, yeah,
at our
Bob.
house, and
In fact,
that's always a treat.
We haven't
He's
had
funny.
Bob in here in a while, and I need to get a hold of him, get
Yes,
him in
you
here
do.
in 2020.
Yeah, he did a superb house concert last.
Well,
last
his
week.
storytelling he's like he and
It's
Butch
remarkable.
Morgan. Nobody can tell stories better than the two of those guys.
Now, how much of it's true or not,
Well,
I'm not really
They're
sure.
both,
It doesn't
both
matter.
full of it, but
Yeah.
we love them.
Mark Twain's stories weren't all true either,
Yeah.
but he could tell them about it.
Now, tell us about Amarillo College.
Well, they have a professional writers of the Panhandle usually has a meeting there in the summer, and they do a songwriting part of it, and I've been lucky enough to teach that several years in there, and then they also in their creative writing course, a professor named Mike Bella has always for years has invited me to be a part of his his creative writing course and teach songwriting there, and that's just I find that very rewarding.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. And that's perfect person in you to do that. You are getting ready, coming up in July to do a little tour, aren't you?
Yes, we're trying to flush it out right now. I mean, but it'll start off in Chicago and then go to Calumet, Michigan, and then around Lake Michigan and end up in Toledo, Ohio.
Well, you be safe because, there's some places now that aren't as safe as they used to be. Yeah.
And it ain't Texas.
No.
You going to see our friend Charlie Ross up there?
Yeah, I know Charlie.
Yeah.
And Charlie, in fact, Charlie gave me the flu once.
That's
Thanks, Charlie.
Yeah.
such a hell of a guy.
Yeah, at Folk Alliance, he needed a place to stay, so he stayed in our room, and we all got sick.
Greg Whitfield came in here one night and gave everybody in the room the flu.
Yes, he sure did.
That's the last time that if anybody even has a sniffle when they come in here,
we don't let them in.
You're not coming in here.
Charlie's a character, and I really liked him. I would like to get to know him better.
Yeah, he's
guy.
A nice guy, really nice guy.
He came and did a show with us just not long ago.
Yeah.
A few months ago, and he really had some good new songs. He's always got great stuff.
He's got a new album that's just released here.
He and Randy Brown remind me of each other in a lot of ways as far as their music and stuff.
Well, Randy got the flu too. I mean, he
It was all.
Yeah, he was part of that.
Great. Well, I just want to tell you, it's been so good having you here this evening, and I'm really looking forward to you coming back here in a month or so.
Yeah.
And
just about a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Month from tomorrow.
Well, you don't know how much I appreciate it. Being in the music room is a big deal, and I'm honored that you guys had me here.
You're a big deal.
Yeah, man. You did a great job tonight.
You sure did.
This was our 319th radio show, and just a blessing to have you fill that spot.
Well, thank you. I'm honored.
And for all you out there listening to this, keep tuning in because you are in the music room.